Hello, Drunvalo.
Hello, Lilou.
Yay, another Drunvalo session. I should not even
Another
call them interviews.
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
what are you interested in today?
Well, I hear a lot of people sending me, emails and asking me for what are the latest Drunvalo updates. What is Drunvalo up to? I mean, I don't even need to introduce you anymore. Gosh, there is hundreds and
Yeah.
thousands of people that are listening to your work around the globe. I know it's also criticized on the other end, so I want to talk also about that part because I think some people are disturbed with that type of information, and we're seeing also religion and the Catholicism church not happy with also the independence that some people are taking. There's just so much going on right now and so much turmoil that I would like to see if you, first of all, if you feel any of that in your own world, if you're confronted or not at all.
No, I don't feel it that much. I'm going to have to say what I know is happening and what is true. I mean, from everything that we've investigated and researched, and I know a lot of times I step on certain religions or certain people's governments' feet, but the people are more important than those things, and so I'm going to say it. And yeah, and sometimes I talk about things that people don't want to hear because they just don't want to. They don't want it to happen. They don't want any of that stuff to go on. But it is happening, and so the best thing, from my point of view, is to realize what's going on, and then figure out how to respond to what the situation is. I'm not making up these situations. It's nature that's occurring right now, and nature is making a pretty big statement at the moment, and it's probably going to get a lot bigger. If the Mayans and the Kogi and all these people are correct, this is just beginning. But,
so what is the situation? What is the tension? Why is it going so much up right now? And is that part of the prophecies, etc.?
It is part of the prophecies all over the world. It's not just the Mayans. It's a global thing. They all know that we're coming to the end of these cycles, and that just is fact. It's just the way it is. The Earth and the Sun and the center of the galaxy are just about to completely align perfectly, which it only happens once every 25,625 years, and so that's a very important thing, and we need to understand what these cycles are if we intend to survive and to go on into higher consciousness through this. You're probably not going to make it if you're just not aware of what's going on. You need to be aware. You need to be conscious, and so that's my job is to let people be aware of what's going on, and it's a good thing. I mean, you have to understand that whether you're looking at the Mayan long count, which is 6,125 years, and every 5 times it comes around, it lines up with the precession, and what happens during those times is they know what it is, and it's divided. It's both dark and light. And the problem is that the world has mostly been looking only at the dark side. And that's the side where the male aspect, which is coming to an end this year, and the female begins. Really, the more important day, and this is important too, is to know, is the Mayans on December 21st, they're just doing the ceremony that they have to do to complete the old cycle. But on December 22nd is when they're going to do the true ceremony that's really important to them, which is the beginning of the new cycle, the nourishing female way that is about to emerge on Earth. And so it isn't. This is not a bad thing. This is a beautiful thing that is about to happen. If we really truly understood all of this, we'd be filled with joy and relief.
Right. Well, you see the big picture, and a lot of us receive those challenges. You're faced with big challenges. I know you're part of putting this big event together, the 21st of December 2012. You're being stopped. How do we deal with those big challenges, no matter at what stage of our life or our development we're at in our life? How do you deal with that? Do you say to yourself, well, something else is meant to happen that is going to be way bigger? This is part of the whole process. It's totally cool. I'm just going through it. It's all good and bad. It's the same.
us humans do what we do. You know, nature is going to do what she does,
Yeah.
and she's going to do that no matter what we do, whether we go up or down or don't talk about it or don't even want to talk about it. But it's still going to happen. Right now, if you go into Russia and look at what Marina Popovich, did we talk about her before?
No.
The Russian, all these things that I'm saying are being backed up by the Russian government. They're standing right behind what we're saying completely. And one of the major spokesman persons for that is Marina Popovich, who is a Russian cosmonaut. She's been on the moon, and she has been in space probably more than just about any other Russian. She's, I think, 86 years old, approximately in there. And they have secretly been doing research with the crop circles for many years now. And there have been many governmental agencies trying to understand what the language is that the crop circles are saying. We don't talk about the crop circles too much anymore,
no.
But they are going on just as much as they ever have from the beginning, and even more. They're bigger, more outrageous, and still about 20% of them are real. They're grown in place. They're not pushed down by human beings or anything else like that. But they have no way to know how those circles were done. Well, the Russians have been studying them, and a few years ago they broke the code. And to them now they can read those crop circles like we read a newspaper. And what they're saying right now is that these are being made by many, many, many different extraterrestrial races. And they're all saying the same message to us. And the message is very, very clear, but it's basically it's very much like the Mayan prophecy. It's a huge negative side with a small light side, and the Russians don't really understand it and don't give us any help. They just tell us that what we have to do. But what Marina says, and by the way, when she first did this, which I think was in August of 2011, there were 5 major scientists, Russian scientists, that were supporting her in this. But now that they have all looked at that the country has looked at the evidence, it's now over 50 major scientists that are on, and they're still climbing. They're getting on board, and they're trying to warn the world about what this message is. The message basically is that there is going to be 7 catastrophes on the Earth coming up, 7 of them. And the first one, they say, we have to do something immediately when we see the first one. We can't wait till even the second one. Because once we wait till the second one, we will be totally into survival and will not be able to do anything about any kind of spiritual levels or consciousness levels. That will be so preoccupied. And the fourth one, they say, is the big one, which is probably the pole shift that they're talking about, but I don't know that. But what they're saying is that, or what she's saying, and the Russian government is behind her, is that the first one, the first catastrophe, is the catastrophe that the NASA declared about a year ago, talking about the solar flares and the CMEs coming off the sun, and that this is going to increase to a point that in late this year or early next year, right at the time when this cycles come to an end, is the solar maximum. And because of what has happened, where we have become so dependent upon computers, that NASA is saying, and so England is also saying this also. They have also researched the same thing. They're coming up with the same conclusion. And Russia is also coming up with the same conclusion, that it's going to shut the Earth down. Yeah,
all the satellites would burn, and then we would have no more communication system. There doesn't even seem to be a plan B.
Not only that, NASA is saying that it will probably erase every computer disk on Earth, personal ones also, which means that all the banking systems go down, all the delivery systems of oil and food and everything else go down. And NASA says, and you can go on and read it, it says they expect this to happen between 1 and 9 months. And so this is a big deal.
Yeah.
And but now what the Russians are saying, yes, we think that's going to happen, but when you see that happen, you must immediately make a change, and you have to leave this level of existence. You have to know how, and you have to go up in consciousness to the 4th dimension, because that's the only way that Russia, and Russia's actually saying this to their people. They're saying you're going to have to know how to go up into consciousness, because if you don't do that, you will not be able to survive the changes that
That's
come
what
after.
the government, the Russian government says. So they're not stopping those scientists and this message at all. They're
They're supporting them. They believe this is going to happen too.
incredible.
And so,
So
I know. And
if this must affect other countries, surrounding countries. I'm here sitting in France. We don't hear about it. This is the first time I'm hearing about
the
it.
entire world is on red alert. Every single government in the world is on red alert, trying to understand how to get through this. Now, how to get through this problem with the sun and the magnetic field of the Earth.
Yeah.
And
because the magnetic field of the Earth, that's the thing that would erase the computers.
No, it is actually the blast coming off of the sun that it may be in combination with those two things that will. I don't know exactly the mechanism that will how NASA is thinking about this, but it doesn't really matter to us.
But NASA is the same that are hiding also apparently some images of Earth of living beings on Mars. I mean of existence of not living beings, but of so it's hard to know these days who's telling the truth, what's really going on. There's so much information right left, and then when you add it all up, sometimes it doesn't add up.
Yes, it's difficult because you've got, I'm guessing about 80% of the people that are making statements on the internet are really just coming from their own ego in terms of what they think is true, and it doesn't have any necessarily any connection to reality. And a lot of that and then you have many conflicting ideas. Obviously, they're not all right. One of them is right maybe, and the rest of them are wrong. And so it's hard to know what the truth is. All I'm saying is read what the governments are saying and what how they're trying to warn us. Read what NASA is saying. Read what Russia is saying. Read what England is saying, and you'll begin to understand that this is not some person saying this.
Yeah.
This is science on a very deep level. And they're very concerned, and they're trying to get us to try to understand. But Russia has gone another step. They've gone a whole other level, and they're trying to say, this is probably going to happen, but if it does, we have to make a metaphysical jump in consciousness to another level because we will not be able to survive here. And
why is that the key? Tell us again. Why is that the key for us to go? Why are they suggesting to go to a fourth dimension?
This is the communication from the crop circles, and this is what the crop circles are saying, that we will not be able to survive when it's not happened. And they're saying not one person on Earth will be able to survive this, and that the only way to go up, to survive this, literally, is to go into another level of consciousness. To do that is not an external thing. It has nothing to do with what's going on in the external world. It's inside of yourself. And this is what we've been preparing for in my life for the last 40-something years. This is what I've been doing, is learning all the internal technology of how we can change consciousness at will, not through drugs or devices or technology or anything else like that, but through who we are. We can change ourselves. And we can make this transition. This transition is easy. We know exactly what to do. It is not hard, but you have to know what to do. And so we are preparing by creating a global television station, basically, is what I'm in the midst of doing. It will come out on Drunvalo.net, is where the portal will be. We will be ready with that probably in about the end of June or July, somewhere around in there. And so we're trying to get to reach as many people as possible to show them who they really are. This stuff, all these things that we're talking about, and a lot of other things that other people are talking about, it doesn't make any difference. Once you know who you really are and you understand how to move within yourself and to make the changes within yourself. We've done this many times before. It's nothing new. We've all done this. We think we're just a human being that doesn't know anything, but that isn't the truth. Once you get into your heart and where your memories are, and all this Akashic record and everything that's in there that you have made, not somebody else, but each person individually has done this. In there is all the knowledge they need to know. It is everything they need to know how to survive. All you need to know is how to get in there and how to connect the heart to the brain.
Shouldn't be that difficult if it's innate, if it's something, if we've already done it.
It's relatively easy.
But sometimes with the green light and the this and the that, we get confused, and I feel in my heart it's supposed to be so easy and so natural.
Well, it is. Listen, I'm teaching this.
Is it getting easier by the minute? It feels like we're going to get it faster.
This is the thing. From a male point of view, and I'm male, so I'm teaching from a male point of view. I'm giving the blueprint of exactly how all things are connected, how the heart is connected to the glands and which glands and all these things. It's like a book. This is a male way. This is what we do. But we're leaving the male way on December 21st, and on December 22nd, we enter into the female way. From what the prophecy is the females remember who the heck they are, and they remember how to go into their heart. And it from a female way, it's really easy. It's just it's simple. It's difficult from a male way, and that's all the teachings of Kundalini Yoga and Kriya Yoga and all these things, which takes 20, 30, 40 years to learn. If you do it in the female way and you really understand what that is, you can do it in a few minutes. Mm-hmm. And this is, so it will be women, almost for sure. Not me. It'll be more like you, Lilou. It'll be women that come out and remember this stuff and will enlighten the world, and we'll do fine. We'll get through, but it's not going to come from us guys. We don't have that in us.
I thought we had both male and female in us, and
but if you have a female body, then you're wired in a certain way, and a male body is wired in another way, and the female body is wired in such a way that this kind of transition is very easy for her. It's all about imagery. It's no longer about what you have to know or when you have to make certain mudras or breathing or all this kind of stuff. It's all about how to change images within your heart, and you can move through these images in ways that are just easy. They're simple. It's like dreaming, and you can make the transition to the other worlds without any difficulty.
So it's really using also the power of imagination and bringing that imaginary world and the magic within.
Everything in existence came into existence through imagination and sexual energy. Those two things in combination. Just the way that we make a baby is the same way that a planet or a galaxy is made. But you have to imagine a galaxy, or you have to imagine a baby first. You can only create what you can imagine. And so imagination is really the key. And from a female point of view, she understands this really well. And so basically, I'm putting my faith in the females of the world. I really believe we're going to come to a point here very soon. Something's going to happen where the females are going to come to this place where they're just going to go, okay, I've had it. No more war, no more killing, no more of this greed, money, and starvation and everything else like that. And the females are going to come together. They're not going to care about race. They're not going to care about religion. They're not going to care about what country they come from. They're just going to come together. And in that moment, the world will be fine after that. That's all it's going to take. It's going to just take a moment, and then they will know exactly what to do.
The male energy is really, really strong, and I'm sure a lot of females are scared about that, or there's a certain intellect, there's a certain thing that we were just born into that is so strong that pushes against us. And yes, there is this innate, that feels really right, but there is this know, or there is this knowing, or there is the science, and there is the institution. All of it is against us, all of us. So how do we deal with that, which was my original question at the beginning of this conversation?
Mother Nature will help you. One of the things she's doing, and one of the things that NASA and they're all talking about, is the reversal of the magnetic poles.
Yeah.
And what happens when the magnetic poles reverse, we actually we reverse our poles also. And so females basically become male, not in the sense of what we think of male, but they become dominant, they become powerful in that way, and the females become passive. I mean, the males become passive when this thing happens, and the females will remember that how to take charge at that point, and exactly how to change what happened. How do you think we get out of this? Look around the world; we're in a mess.
Oh yeah, big mess, bigger than we all know, I think.
Well, yeah, and I don't
Most
even want to
of
get
us.
it just scare the heck out of everybody if you knew the truth. But it's okay. We're going to be fine. We really are. But it's going to come from the females. It will. The males have done everything they can do, and basically in the last 2,000 years, which is normal, they get crazy in the last couple of thousand years. The females right now are going to take control very soon, and it's already happening. I mean, you've got a female president in Chile and Argentina and Germany, and we almost had one here, and females are starting to take corporations. It's still minor, but that's just the beginning.
So part of the ceremony of the Mayan is celebrating that female energy. That's part of their prophecy.
Absolutely.
On the 22nd, the following day.
22nd, yes, and it isn't just a ceremony; it's a celebration. Because this is what it's a council. I was just talking to them 2 days ago. They say you got to remember. Everybody's focusing on December 21st. They said that's the death of the old way. What we're interested in is December 22nd, the birth of the new way, and that's the only thing they need to fulfill the prophecy and do the ceremony, but they're not going to celebrate that. That's over. But their celebration that's going to go through the indigenous world is when we've reached the 22nd, and that's the day when literally it's exactly like the day itself. December 21st is what? It's the winter solstice, and the days get shorter and shorter and darker and darker and darker until the 21st, and on the 22nd, that's when the days get longer and light gets brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter, and that's exactly what's going to happen. It's probably not going to happen like that, but it's going to get the light of the new cycle is going to begin like a sun coming up, a dawn. And it's going to get stronger every single day and almost imperceptible until you realize that the world has completely changed. And
because do they know, all those scientists and astronomers, what it's going to happen with such an alignment? Do we know from the past what happens when there is such an alignment between the Milky Way, the Sun, and the Earth?
We don't. Science doesn't know. We don't hardly even have ideas. We've looked back into the time, into the rocks and the tree rings and everything else in the world, and we can see 450 million years, and we can see cycles that are going on over and over and over. Ice Age, 90,000 years, 10,000 years of warmth. Ice Age, 90,000 years, and continuing on. Every 490,000 years, I think it is, we have a different cycle that hits, which many people think that's what's going to happen this time. And I'm beginning to think that maybe they're correct, and that is that we don't go into an ice age, but we go into a very hot age, and the average temperature of the Earth gets really, really hot, and that's very possible. Now that I've reviewed the evidence, it may be possible that this actually is. It has been about that long since the last time the Earth has done that, but it doesn't matter to us. Because we are going to transcend out of here. We're still going to be on the Earth. We're not going somewhere else. The Earth has many different dimensional levels to it. And we're in the third dimensional of the Earth. All we need to do, we don't need to go anywhere. We just need to change the television station from 3D Earth to 4D Earth. And that's all it is. And then we're fine after that. All the transition after that is easy. It is, and in fact, it solves every single problem on Earth that we have right now, without exception. They'll all be solved. And we enter into a very easy world where we can create anything we need. We don't have to eat anymore. We don't die anymore. We don't get sick anymore. We know how to fix everything, and that is only just the beginning. What the beauty of what's about to happen is extraordinary, and we need to focus on that and keep our eyes to the light, not the darkness. We have both things happening at once, and focusing on the darkness is not really the key. It's focusing on where we're going and what is about to happen, and so it's not. Again, it is not a complicated thing. Once we get into this, we've done this a million times before. All of us have, and we're going to get into this and we go, oh yeah, I remember this. This is easy. It's being born. We all were born here on the earth. We know we were born here on the earth, and so when we came here, we were coming from another level of existence, and what we did to get here is exactly what we're going to do to get to the next level. And we know how to do it. Once we're into the birth channel, we understand what's happening. We'll know. It's not hard.
The birth channel, the same channel that brings us up once we die?
It's the uterus, yes. We pass through the uterus in the same way. We have parents on the other levels of existence, and we're going to be born in another level of existence. This is nothing new. It's very, very, very old.
For most people, that's called death. How do we know that that's not real death?
There is no real death. That's an illusion that has been created through polarity consciousness, but that isn't the truth. The truth is, you and I and everybody watching this has always been alive. There has never been a time when you have not been alive, and there never will be a time when you're not alive. God lives within you. You are intimately connected to the source of all creation. And right now we have chosen to come down into this very, very dark place that is very dense and very polarized to have this experience. We did that. You, each one of us said, okay, I will do this, and made this choice. But now it's also another choice. Okay, I will go to the next level now. And it really doesn't really make any difference, actually. If you die, or if you resurrect, or if you ascend, there's three possibilities that are offered to us right now. There may be a fourth one very soon, but right now there's three. And really, it doesn't make any difference if you die, or you resurrect, or you ascend. The only difference that makes has to do with God himself, because God told us, all life everywhere, to try all possibilities. And we are. Life is trying every kind of possibility that we can, in every single way that we can. And there are three ways to do it, and we're all doing all three ways. But even in the Bible, it says that those that die, that go on after this time, the dead will rise. And they will. So if you die, you're going to go through in a very, very specific overtone of the fourth dimension. If you resurrect, you go into another one. And if you do the ascension, you go into another one. But once they're there, they will be all kind of merged together, and we go on together onto the next level of where we're going. And so it isn't going to make any difference. In other words, we don't have anything to lose. All we have to do now is relax, not worry. It's very much like a mother about to give a baby. If she goes into fear, that birth is going to be hard. It's going to be painful, and it's going to be hard. If she can relax and trust and really believe in herself and know that she's safe, and the family and husband and everybody's taking care of her and all, when you're in that kind of way, if you believe it, then the birth can go really easy and simple without...
Though we know from others' experience that when the death is really fast and quick and sudden, then the soul is a little bit, not tipsy, but just doesn't know what's going on. And then it's a little bit harder to react, and there's possibilities of not really taking the right end of the tunnel, per se.
Well, we do look like we make mistakes, but in this thing, whether you actually make it through, or even if you were stillborn, it's not going to make any difference. This planet is about to transcend from the third to the fourth dimension. The third dimension of the planet is simply not going to exist very soon. And we're going to be in another level, whether we like it or not, really. It's going to happen. Whether you, even if you're somebody that's just totally into money and materialism, you don't care about this stuff, and you don't even want to think about it, and all you want to do is go get drunk and have fun, and you're still going to be fine. Whether the churches like this idea or not, and
they don't like it, huh?
Well, the Pope actually came out publicly. Pope John Paul, when he was alive, came out and announced publicly that there was no hell. Did you know that? He said that to the whole world. He said, we made a mistake, we're sorry. This idea of hell and purgatory and everything was something we made up, and we apologize for saying that. He said that to the world. There is nothing like that. We're creating our world for every moment of every second with every breath. And when we get into the fourth dimension, we get really good at it. And we're able to so even if you're on this earth right now and you're in a wheelchair, you have no arms, no legs, and all you got is a heart, you're fine. That's all you need. You go into your heart. That's the only mechanism you need to be able to get into this other level. And when you get there, you can grow all your arms and legs and stand up out of that chair and be fine. This is the truth, Lilou. This is what's really the truth. And a day will come when you'll go, oh yeah, okay, I remember.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to be afraid. You're going to be fine no matter what. But you want to do the best you can, you know. And it's interesting, the whole thing of higher consciousness and meditation, and what it has to offer, and what it can do for your life even right now, is extraordinary. Mm-hmm. And so you know, that's the primary thing is to go within. If you really want to know what's going on outside of here, go within. That's the source of what's going on outside, and that's the best thing I can offer. But also to really get close with those you love, mm-hmm. Your family, your children, your husbands and wives, and all those that and your friends. Make amends. Get close. Really get close, because the closer those bonds are, even the easier this gets.
Why does that move you so much? Why are you touched by that like you are right now?
Well, because it's a very simple thing, and I know what it does when you solve it. I've seen it. We've taught this in my workshops and everything, and I've watched what happens. And people that are in turmoil with their lives, with all their families and their friends and everyone, they can't get along with anybody. When you can get to the other side of that and turn that around, the meditation and the levels that are really important here becomes super easy. The heart opens. That's the whole thing. When your heart is closed, this is all difficult, and it all becomes fearful and painful. Mm-hmm. But the moment that heart opens up, it's easy after that. It's simple. It's beautiful. And that's what I'm trying to say is you know, really trust yourself and find the way into your heart.
Is it possible to find the way into somebody's heart that has the heart closed?
It has it closed? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, of course. Anything can be healed. No matter, all diseases can be healed. All diseases have been healed. And so a heart that's closed is like a disease, and you can go in and you can always find a way to the heart. We're building a system here in Sedona right now. It's a very expensive system that's being set up. And the person that is doing this is Dr. James Hart. He's a neurologist, a neuroscientist, actually. He's one of the most famous ones in the world. And he has discovered something that will probably give him the Nobel Prize when the world understands this. But he can take a closed heart, clammed shut with locks on it, and completely open it up and heal it totally. All the emotional body solved in 7 days. Mm. And he did this because he discovered something. He has a PhD in physics and he has a PhD in psychology, and he combined these two things. And it was actually an accident when he was working with people in the chambers, creating alpha and theta, that he discovered that there's a very specific state in the human body that you can teach anybody to get into. It takes a couple of days, and you can teach them how to get into this state of meditation. And they discovered that when you're in that state of meditation, you can take any emotional trauma that has ever happened to you, no matter how dramatic it was. You can have watched somebody kill your mother, and you would obviously have a deep problem with the person that did that. And if they try to go through therapy that we now know on Earth, they may never be able to heal that, but they can try. It may take a long time, but it would not be easy. But with this new system that they found, all they do is put you in these chambers, they put you in this particular place, and then all you do is say, you just bring it up while you're in the chamber and you're in that state of consciousness, and you say, okay, I remember my mother was killed, this person did it, I forgive everyone. That would normally do nothing. But now, under those conditions, it wipes the trauma completely off your emotional body and out of your physical and mental body, and you're 100% healed.
Which goes back to free will, though, because you still have to want to go in there.
Yeah, you have to. Oh, sure. I'm not going to force people to do that.
No. Yeah. No, but what I mean is that sometimes the closed heart are hard to reach to because they're also closed-minded. And so to get to those people to such a place, you have to really want, first of all, to get in there and get to the state and have an open-mindedness. So sometimes it feels like it's a little bit tricky because it's the chicken, and the egg thing.
But all they have to do is be willing to go into the chamber.
Yeah.
They don't have to even believe if this is real or not. It's not about belief. This is pure science. It works every time. And so what happens is you can only forgive all the things that you remember. Okay? Yeah. If you don't remember it, you can't forgive it. So you go through all the things you remember, and then once you do, the computer is measuring everything that's going on in your body, and it comes up and says, well, okay, there's these other things that you don't know about, but here they are. And then they take you into it with a therapist who then pulls those things back out so they're in your memory. Then you go back in there and forgive all those things. Then the computer comes back and says, well, there's more things, and it starts getting them all. And in 7 days, probably not every single thing, but almost everything is completely done.
Well, it's exciting. You have to keep me informed and all of us when this is out and when we can experience that.
We will have this running probably by the end of May, that part of it, but the rest of it won't be until June or July. But it's actually already full. The people who are coming in right now are wanting to get in there.
He will be interesting to interview.
Yeah. Okay.
No, thank you so much, Drunvalo. That was awesome, and I look forward to posting this on YouTube and all over the internet. And thank you for taking the time and doing your work and being out there, even though if I know you're encountering challenges and you're alive, and it feels good to see you in person, face to face. Thank you.
Well, very glad to see you again. You're doing a great job in the world.
Thank you.
Keep doing it. You're helping a lot of people, so thank you for doing that.
Thanks.